Hello. Today's interview is a bit unique. I'm here with Lydia to discuss her success with recently putting her own home under contract. First off, congratulations.
Thank you, Jane.
I'm anxious to hear about the strategies that you put in place to market your home.
Well, I will say that I took a page out of our own playbook,
Nice.
and that is where we promote what we refer to as our three-phase marketing plan.
Right.
And the idea is that we want to have as much opportunity to expose the property, kind of create a buzz about the property before it actually goes public, shall we say, for public consumption in terms of buyers that are out there. So initially, I put it on the Compass Private Exclusive Network.
Right.
And it is a way that we can get the property out to all of the agents within Compass, Chicagoland wide, as well as really throughout the country. And it's a way to kind of gauge as far as interest in terms of the property that you're listing, to get an idea, if agents reach out, if they're interested. I actually, in my own personal case, had a number of agents ask if they could show my property. And although I declined, it was helpful certainly to kind of get a level or idea of interest, as well as I made sure to keep them apprised when I was ready to start showing the home. The second phase was through the Compass Coming Soon / private listing network, which is through the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a way to actually get it out to all of the agents, not just Compass, but throughout all of the agents as far as the Compass, or rather the Chicagoland area. And I put it on for several days and definitely got quite a bit of interest then, and as well as people wanting to show. Again, I kind of waited and I said I wanted to hold off until I was ready to open up the door to any and all agents and their buyers that were interested in seeing. And then certainly I activated it as far as on the MLS.
And that's exactly what we do with our clients. What was it like selling your own home versus selling your client's house?
You know what? I would say it wasn't that different in the sense of I always accompany,
Yes.
any showings, whether certainly it was my own home, but if it's a client that we have, because I feel like we as agents know the property so much better than any agent with a buyer that might be coming in. And so it's quite helpful as far as to be present, not just to field any questions, to be
Right.
able to really promote as far as the attributes of your home, as well as the area, but also get a sense as far as the level of interest. So in my case, I was able to have instantaneous feedback in terms of the amount of interest in my home. And certainly that was very helpful too.
Yeah, that had to be interesting because you know so many agents in the area and you have built all these great relationships. And now it's your own house that you're showing them. And so that's a totally different take on how you perceive the, working with buyers and sellers, et cetera. So that's pretty cool.
But I have to say it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, and I
Right.
always love, and I think we both do, when we get an opportunity as far as to showcase and promote a property with a new client's home that we're rolling out. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
as far as,
I bet
yeah.
it was. So what do you think made the biggest difference in getting all these eyes on your property and getting your home under contract so quickly? What was it that you did that made the biggest difference?
So what I will always say, I think that is so important, is the what you do as far as before you actually put it on the market. And it's getting the house ready.
Right.
You want to get the house ready as far as showcase or showing ready condition.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent quite a bit of time on the front end in terms of painting. The last time we had this house painted was when we did our renovation, which was in '07. So even though the paint looked perfectly fine, the color, so I actually brought it into more current, contemporary as far as feel and look. It's all about neutral colors.
Right.
I did some changes, a few light fixtures, right?
Mm-hmm. Always makes a difference.
Always makes a difference. We always say from a staging standpoint, as in terms of ROI, that the three things that really make the biggest impact are paint, switching out light fixtures, and flooring also. And in our case, we also cleaned some carpets, which is
Yes.
important too.
Right.
And the other thing too, and I don't think that it is that visible as far as when people are coming through, but we did a pre-inspection on our home so that
Important.
we had an idea of any issues. And there was certainly nothing major, but little minor things. Because what you don't want is for people to come through and feel like there's deferred maintenance.
Right.
And that can even get down to scuff marks on the walls and things like that, which are so simple, or even, again, dirty carpet. So those were all things, but even, making sure the mechanicals were cleaned. I know it's so silly, but if you just take a rag and just kind of clean them and just make them look like they've been,
Right.
it's these little things that make
And
a
those
big
things
difference.
do go far away.
Yeah.
And then you're prepared come inspection time. You've already had the pre-inspection done. You're really ready for anything that may come up, or you've already handled it.
And here's the thing, my house is a 1928 house. So there's always going to be issues. Now, the thing that we had that we knew about, but I wanted to kind of get a, what would you say, as far as get in front of it, so to speak, was we have vermiculite in our attic. Vermiculite is a kind of insulation. It's just these individual particles or whatever. It was popular, I don't know, I think from the 40s through the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is known for in some instances is it can have asbestos. And in our case, fortunately, it did not have asbestos. But when we did the pre-inspection, that was one of the first things that the inspector noted was when he was up in the attic was you have vermiculite. And I'm like, you know what? I know we do. We had it tested when we first moved in, but I realized, I don't have the test from when we did it back in 2003. So I actually went and I had some vermiculite tested as far as through a lab here in the Chicagoland area. I got the report. And sure enough, I had that. I made sure to include the report with the property
Smart.
Yeah, with the property disclosure, so that any agent, when they were sitting down with their client and writing the offer, they have to sign that property disclosure. They initialed as far as the report. But here's the interesting thing. Sure enough, when we did the inspection with the buyer, I actually did sit in my own inspection, which is not the norm.
Yeah.
But anyway, the inspector brought up that we had vermiculite in the attic. And so the buyer's agent was like, oh, and that buyer, and I'm like, oh, but here's remember the report.
Remember
that you initialed. And it was, it was not a big deal. It was moot because it's not an issue as far as in this case. So
right.
Anyway, it's things like that make a difference.
So it just is peace of mind having that pre-inspection.
Exactly. That pre-inspection is huge.
Yes.
And then one other thing too,
right.
Jane.
Go ahead.
Is that we had pictures taken of the exterior.
Oh, yeah.
In the, it was actually in the early fall, so that we made sure to showcase the outside because the yard, we definitely, trying to make sure it showed all of the beautiful landscaping that is out there, the furniture as far as when it's not covered with the furniture covers and so forth. Because I will tell you, when I actually put it on the market and opened up the door, guess what? There was snow covering the entire backyard. And yes, it was pretty, but you certainly had no idea as far as what the house or the backyard looks like as far as landscape. And I think that was a huge,
that's huge.
As far
as
as
buyers seeing that, going through the pictures online, and also they see this beautiful patio and greenery and yes.
So I think that's a big one, is always, even if you're thinking about selling, and whether it's maybe next spring or something like that, which oftentimes is February, is when our market starts, that you really want to try to think about getting your pictures as far as in the summer or early fall.
Very smart. So on a different path, how did you decide on your listing price? What did you do coming up with your specific number?
So in this market, which we know it's an interesting market to try to price a home. And first off, as we always say, there are no cookie cutter properties. This is not a subdivision. Each home is unique as far as the attributes that it offers, the updates, and so forth. I think one of the helpful things certainly is that we know this area inside and out and are intimately familiar with the inventory. So even though there weren't any comps specifically as far as this home, I had a pretty good handle in terms of what had recently sold and where my house, based upon the upgrades and square footage and location and so forth, kind of where I thought it would be. And then there goes how helpful it was also in terms of being able to put it into the private exclusive network and the PLN to gauge the level of interest that I had. The other thing that I did is I had interior pictures taken of my home prior to putting it in the private exclusive network. So by having both interior and exterior photos, that really helped to get a sense as far as level of interest.
And I'm sure it was a large level of interest, is my assumption.
I had quite a bit, quite a bit.
Yeah. Which sort of leads me to the next question of multiple offers. I know you were in with lots of people, lots of interest, and so you received multiple offers.
So, and it's funny because when I opened the day I put my house on the market, it was probably the coldest or one of the coldest of this year.
Yes, it was.
It's really going to be a great day to be selling your house. But there were reasons why I needed to put it on when I did. And interestingly enough, not a lot of competition in this particular week, nor have there been in the month. And I think buyers were definitely starting to get a little nervous as far as, are there going to be that many homes coming on the market? And so far that there haven't been.
No.
But in my case, I ended up on the first day, I had 29 showings.
29.
And out of the 29 showings, I had 3 offers.
Okay.
That evening.
Good.
My plan was to show it through, I think I had showings through Saturday.
And you started on?
I started on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
Started on a Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I think I had 3 or 4 more offers in hand. Had a number of showings on Wednesday or on Thursday. And I decided at that point to cut it off as of Friday at 5 p.m.
Right.
I know I had 45, 50 easily more showings, but I ended up with 12 offers.
12 offers. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to manage. I mean,
it is a lot.
Each and every offer and determining, there's so many factors that come into play. Was there a final determination or anything you can, I know it's all confidential at this point, but maybe something a little bit that stood out amongst?
Well, definitely, as we always say, the cleaner the offer, the better, right? And so it was a very clean offer. And what we mean by that, in this case, we don't have a financing contingency, which is certainly nice. We are seeing more as is, as far as where buyers are putting in the contract as is. They're still having inspections.
Yes.
So I can't really get in detail, but at the end of the day, it's the cleaner the offer, and price is always a factor.
Yeah, price is always a factor, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So overall, anything else you want to add or your biggest takeaway from this process?
You know what? I think the biggest takeaway is that really what was interesting is I being in the business and acting both as my realtor and my client.
Right.
And I think we and certainly with my family, we did some things, and in some places they weren't ideal for some family members in terms of having to take out beds and put in smaller beds to make a bedroom look larger and so forth. But at the end of the day, I think really by employing all of what we generally do when we are working with clients, I think it was just a win-win strategy overall.
Yes.
It really, really was. And I was very pleased as far as the outcome. And I think at the end of the day, and this is not tongue in cheek, but I really do think it really matters who the agent is that you work with. Is that you want somebody that's really going to spend a lot of time trying to help you get your house ready before you put it on the market, because that makes all the difference in the world. I mean, even in a hot market like we're seeing, spend the time, stage your home, get it ready, get the right price on there. The price that I picked was not a low number, but it wasn't a pie in the sky number. You need to get that right number on there. And then you will find that they will come. The buyers will come.
Yes.
Yeah. But this is a really, as far as from a seller's perspective, you are definitely in the driver's seat in this market.
For sure. It's a hot seller's market for sure.
It is indeed.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing all of this. And I'm sure everyone else appreciates it as well.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, Jane, right? Being on the other end, right?
Good to see you, Lydia. It's been a while. Since yesterday?
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.